Brittany Matthews, and welcome to the Promotion Lady Show.
The Promotional Lady Show is as real as it gets. She's putting it down for you. I said you haven't seen nothing yet. The Promotional Lady Show, putting the real back into reality. Come on and join us. Yeah, the spoken truth you will see.
Hi, my name is Ty Westbrook. I am with Westbrook Consulting LLC and in the studios with Brittany Matthews. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Well, tell us a little bit more about you. Who is Ty Westbrook?
Yeah, interesting question, Brittany. Well, I originally was born in Miami, Florida. I grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina. So I'm a little country girl.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and I spent 4 years in the U.S. Army. So I lived in Louisiana for about 9 years. And then I moved back to Beaufort for about 3 years. And then decided that I wanted to move to Columbia. So
wow.
Yes.
So you went from Louisiana with the good food
mhm.
to good old Columbia, South Carolina.
yes.
Wonderful.
Great opportunity.
Wonderful. So tell us. So what was your biggest struggle that you had to overcome to get you to where you are now?
One of the things that I feel that I kind of struggled with is with education. So in terms of not going to college, when I first graduated out of high school, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and I joined the military on accident because I was actually taking my friend to the recruiting office.
Really?
And the recruiter asked me, he said, "What do you plan on doing with your life?" I was like, "I don't know." The next month, I was on the bus coming to Fort Jackson for basic training.
Wow.
Yes.
So he got a 2-for-1 special.
He did. He did. So I did that, and after I got out the military, I was like, I want to go to school. I want to go back to school. Started going to school in Louisiana to be a teacher, and of course, life happened, and I ended up having to drop out of school.
Wow.
And I moved back to Beaufort. From there, I started working as an accounting, and I knew it wasn't a lot of money. I mean, I may have been making about $9 or $10 an hour, and I didn't have an education, so I couldn't be mad at anyone, but myself. But what was the breaking point for me was I had to train a lady that came in. She was another accountant. And I trained her thinking that I was going to go up for promotion as a manager. So I'm all excited, training her. I'm like, okay, yes, this is my time. And after training her for about a week or 2 weeks, then they put her in the position as manager.
Wow.
And at that point, I knew, like, wow, I had the talent, I had the skill, but I did not have an education. And from that moment, that was my last day there at that job.
Wow. So you physically left or you mentally left first?
I physically left.
You physically just left?
I physically left.
And that would make anybody upset. That you're training
physically
someone else for the spot that you wanted.
Exactly.
And they got it.
Right.
Because of your training.
Right. But again, she had a bachelor's degree and I didn't. I didn't have anything. I didn't have associates. I didn't have anything but a high school diploma. And that is when I decided that I was going to go back to school.
Wow.
And get my degree. So I started the next day. I think I went to the Technical College of the Low Country that's in Beaufort, and I registered, and I started school like that January. And 2 months later, I found out that I was pregnant, and I'm going, oh,
life happens again.
Life happens again. But this time, I was like, I am not going to drop out of school. I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to go through school being pregnant. And I went through school my entire pregnancy, walking around campus, me, baby and all. And I delivered my baby son. And even with that, like 2 days later, I was still like on the laptop trying to finish papers. Like I was determined that I was not gonna let like having a child get in the way again. I graduated with my associates in arts, and
Congratulations.
thank you. And I was like, okay, now that I graduated, now it's time for me to keep moving to get a bachelor's degree. So that's when we moved to Columbia. But I didn't know that like moving to another city, going to USC, not really having a job, trying to find a job, having a family, it was a lot. It was a
Wow.
lot.
That is a lot.
It is a lot. And I guess I underestimated like what I could do. So I ended up going to USC for about 2 semesters, and I had to end up dropping out to try to get a job and get situated with my family, because my kids were kind of going back and forth to Beaufort because I, just trying to finish school. So again, I ended up dropping out again. So after time went on, I, was kind of finding the work, being, going like far as temp agencies.
Mhm.
And so I landed a job with Health and Human Services. I started working there at a grant that they had available, and I remember my paycheck every 2 weeks was $625 every 2 weeks, trying to live in Columbia, my husband working at Enterprise, and we struggled. I mean, like, we struggled.
With a baby.
And with a baby.
With 1 or 2? Just
2. My son was 2 at the time, and he was staying in Beaufort because we couldn't afford to have him here. And my daughter was going to elementary school at the time. And it was really, really, it was a struggle. Like when people say, oh, I have to live in my car, I was homeless. I knew what that was like, and I couldn't really tell my family about it, because when your family looks at you as being like, wow, she made it, and she's, kind of the light, you have to go through those struggles by yourself.
That's right.
And
because you're known to be the strong one.
Exactly.
And people don't understand when you're down. You're just down.
Right.
And they don't know how to help though.
They don't know how to help.
Yeah.
So yeah, when people say I lived in my car, I said, I know how that feels. When I was homeless, I know exactly how that feels.
Wow. And that blows me away. That you still have a smile on your face, and you're happy saying that.
Yeah.
That you overcame something.
Exactly, because I knew in my mind that it would not be this way always. And I would always often tell my husband, it's not going to be this way always. Like, we are going to make it like this, and then you started doubting yourself, like, God, should I have moved? Should I, but
Right.
I think anytime that you're on your way to success or achieving something, there's going to be struggles.
Mhm.
You don't know what those struggles are going to be or what they're going to look like, but it was definitely a struggle, definitely lessons learned. But as time went on and we, continued the grind, as people would say,
Right.
and not really giving up, things got, better, and I started working at Lexington Medical Center there with the managed care department. And that is when I kind of discovered the team building thing.
Nice.
Yes, my director asked me to put on a team building event, and I was like, sure. I never had put on anything team building.
Mhm.
So I got on the internet and I was looking like, okay, team building, what is this? What is that? And I'm like, And I started getting really excited about planning it. And I'm like, yes.
That's when all the hair stand up.
Yes.
And the butterflies.
Yes.
come
I'm
back over.
like, this is awesome. So I planned this big team building event for our staff. We had about 12, 13 staff members,
Mhm.
and everybody was just in awe, like, oh my God, this was like the best team building we ever had. And I'm sitting there going, you guys just don't know. This is like my first time ever doing
But
this.
you got it like that though.
But that's when I like discovered, like, wow, I really enjoyed seeing other people happy, being able to help the team, because we were going through some struggles and turnover at the time. And it really brought our team together. Like, we became family after that. Like, everybody kind of got a chance to really know who each other were, and
Mhm.
you don't come in and just the grind of the day, but you actually know, like, oh my God, Brittany is really a cool person, or you just kind of find out those other things about them. But even through me being successful in team building, it still wasn't enough because I didn't have a degree. And so there were other people coming in that I'm training that was part of this fellowship program that had their master's. I'm
Right.
like, wow, my God, you got your master's, that's so amazing. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I could never get my master's degree. Like, that is just so far-fetched for me. And I remember a friend, his name is, and he doesn't mind me calling his name, and we call him Montrell Roberson. We call him Monty, and he really inspired me to go. He was a young black male, finishing up his master's degree. He was just kind of doing like an intern at the hospital, and I looked at him, I was like, I'm so like in awe of you being so young and getting your master's. And he said, Ty, he's like, you can do it too.
There you go.
And I was like, I can. So I went back to school. Started out at the University of Phoenix, going once a week for 2 years. Still have a family. From 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Full-time mom.
Full-time mom. Still working at Lexington Medical Center, and determined that I was going to finish, like, to get my bachelor's degree.
Wow.
2 years later, I'm like, I achieve it. I get my bachelor's degree, and it's like, oh my God, I did it.
And
like,
congratulations.
Yes.
That's a huge accomplishment.
Yes. And so after that, I started working for Blue Cross. And I knew that, I remember what Monty said, like, you can do it too. So it wasn't like, yay, I got my bachelor's. Not that I wasn't satisfied, but I knew, like, I wanted more. So after about maybe 6 months, 7 months down the road, I'm like, I want to go back and get like that master's. Like, I'm going to go back. And I told my husband, and he was like, oh my God, not again.
Not again.
Not again. Not again. Yes. But he was very supportive and helping me with the kids and me just trying to navigate it through it all. So 18 months later, here it is, October 2018. I walk across the stage to receive my master's degree. And not only that, I was actually the student commencement speaker, because I wanted to share my story of how it took me nearly 20 years to complete a master's degree. And it was just, for me, a story that, you know, when life happens, you push back. You do what it is that you set out to do. And that's what I felt that I did. That even though through the bumps, the bruises, and life just happening, oftentimes people just lay down and say, I'm just going to accept life giving me this. But I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to push back on life, and I'm going to take control of my life, and I'm going to do what it is that I want to do.
And also, you stood the test of time.
Yes, I did.
Without giving up.
Without giving up. Yeah.
And that leads me to my next question, of course. So tell us what you're doing now, as in incorporating the team building.
Yeah, so going back to, you know, being really excited about that.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, so when people, I think when they do, they're not exactly sure what they want to do, but then when they tap into it, it's like, you know it. Like, this is your lane, this is your sweet spot. And so now with my business, Westbrook Consulting, I help teams to kind of discover their culture or bring them together as teammates. And not only that, but we help college students and high school students kind of help them navigate who they are as well.
That's very needed, of course.
Exactly. And we use a tool called Myers-Briggs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it is a personality assessment. And I am a Myers-Briggs practitioner, and we administer it to teens. We administer it to high school and college students. But ultimately, it kind of helps you discover, like, who Ty is, who Brittany is. And it not just helps you discover it, but it confirms why you do what you do.
Right.
Nature versus nature. What are the things that, you know, I was just, you know, my environment has created me to be this way, or the things that I was created to do, you know. So it's definitely has been discovery for me, like just.
And self-assurance.
It really is. It really is that, oh, I'm not crazy. Like,
just only on Sundays.
Yes. Yes. So it definitely helps you to, you know, really hone in on the things that you do now. You kind of understand a little bit better. So it tells you, even like with career wise, it gives you kind of a couple of careers that you would be good at. And so the 3 that it told me that I would be great at is, I would be a teacher. I would be in healthcare, or I would be a minister. And when I saw those, I'm like, wow. So I went to school to be a teacher.
That's what I was gonna say.
And I ended up in healthcare. And then I served as a chaplain at Lexington Medical Center. So it was very accurate and confirming. And so it's like when you become empowered and you understand who you are, you can walk more confident that, you know what, this is me, you know, and now you feel more self-assured, you feel more confident because now you're like, this is what my test said, this is who I am. And then, you know, now I can really
instead of have that gray area.
Yeah.
So now it's on paper. Now you know what to build from,
right,
and what things to let go.
Right.
That's
and then those blind spots that, you know, kind of things that you want to back away from, but then it helps you to say, I know I may not like conflict, but when conflict comes, then I have tools to help me work through that. So yeah, I love it. I love the assessment. It's very, all right.
So what is new with Westbrook Consulting?
Well, I am excited that we will have a webinar that's coming up pretty soon. And that webinar will be Reset, Revamp, and Recharge. I have a workbook.
And I can hold it for you.
Yes, thank you. I have a workbook that we just rolled out. And I've decided to introduce it to you all on your show.
Yay.
So thank you for this opportunity. So again, be on the lookout for this workbook. If you would like to get more information, you could send me an email at info@westbrookconsultingllc.com. Again, that email address is info, that's INFO, to westbrookconsultingllc.com. The webinar comes out, you will have an opportunity to join us for that.
Wonderful, and I'll of course share this information with you after. So tell us more about Reset, Revamp, Recharge. And I love the fact where it says the formula for discovering your purpose.
Yes.
Something that takes a lifetime, but it can be just a couple days.
It can be, definitely. So in terms of resetting, revamping, and recharging, when we're trying to discover who we are or discover what our purpose is, sometimes we have to take time to kind of sit back, reflect, and say, okay, well, what exactly it is that I want to do. So when we talk about reset, you look at where you are now. Like, where am I now? Then how did I get here? And then where do I want to go? What does that look like for me? And revamping, you know, a lot of times we're like, oh, I just want to do something new. I want something fresh. You know, okay, well, what does that look like for you? In terms of life, in terms of relationship, if you want to be revamped, then what does that look like? And so we ask a lot of questions in the workbook, not for me to give you the answers, but for you to dig deep down and try to discover that yourself.
Exploring it
for yourself. And in terms of recharging, which is kind of my favorite piece, is making those intentional connections and getting connected to the right people.
Right.
And then also disconnecting probably from some people or things that may cause you not to discover
that may be
that
hardest
purpose.
thing.
And that it's extremely hard, especially if you love hard or you're connected with people that they're just kind of just in your life or things that you hold on to. And so we talk a little bit about disconnecting or what lessons learned from that charging, but making sure that you stay connected to those people that help you to be recharged, help you to stay charged and energized, and help you to move forward in what it is that you want to do.
Wow. So discovering your life all in one package.
Yes.
You can get it with Miss Ty Westbrook.
Yes.
At Westbrook Consulting, definitely.
Thank you.
So tell us what piece of advice you can give to our audience today that would be a good take home for us to really think about and move from.
One advice I would say for the audience, and I can speak to it as well, is to stay true to who you are. That is really, really important. A lot of times because we, especially for those that have a servant's heart.
Yes.
And we do so much for other people that we sometimes lose who we are. And I think it's important that it's nothing wrong with doing for other people and serving other people, but in your serving and in your doing, remember to to take time for you.
Right.
Remember to take time for who you are and discover and help you to remain true to who you are. And so if it's something that you don't agree with, it's something that you don't like, then don't change your mind just because of someone else.
Right.
But stay true to you. And that'll definitely help you in the long run, because you'll look up 5 years from now and you're like, wow, who am I? And it's because I've been so engulfed with someone else's vision and someone else's dream that I have not taken the time out to really develop my own.
So you're giving us okay to be a little selfish?
It is.
Just a little bit.
It is okay to be selfish.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's in a positive sense.
Yeah.
Just to know who you are.
Exactly.
Because that is, you said a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for being a guest on my show, because people, we need to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we say we're strong women and,
Yes.
you know, or entrepreneurs, we
Mhm.
still need to understand that we are human.
Exactly.
And we make mistakes.
Right.
And we have some great successes.
That's right.
But being true to who you are,
Mm-hmm. It's important.
being a part of the body.
Yes.
Being true.
Yes.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being
Well,
on my
thank you for having me,
show.
Brittany.
And how can we find you again?
Well, again, you can find me on Facebook at Westbrook Consulting LLC. You can also find me on Instagram at Team Up with Ty. And my website is www.westbrookconsultingllc.com.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And of course, you can find this video on TPL Network on Roku TV. Also, you can find it streamed through our mobile app, The Promotion Lady. Also, you'll find this video on Facebook and all throughout social media, I should say, and YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and have a blessed day.